I just want to start by thanking you, David, for chatting with us here at the Christian Beat, all about the latest news from Sidewalk Prophets and the music that's been coming out and will be coming out. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I want to start with the project Looking Up. You've released some singles already from it, and the full project will be coming out in February. But I just want to ask, when did you first start working on this project?
Man, yeah, that's a great question. I think it was like 16 years ago. It feels like, but we actually started writing for it. My son was born in 2020, and I think one of the song references him being 2 years old, and he's now 4.5. So it's been years that you cultivate songs over time, but you also cultivate the we're being on tour all the time, and then trying to fit it in. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. 2020, I think, was our last record, right during the middle of the pandemic, and then so it's been a long time coming. We're excited. We've had a lot of things happen and a lot of beautiful things, and we are, yeah, excited to share our hearts through it all.
Oh, absolutely. And I do want to ask you a little bit before we get into the specific tracks, talking about the title Looking Up and kind of the album artwork that goes along with it. Do
Sure.
you want to just touch a little bit of kind of how you feel that encapsulates kind of the message?
Yeah, if you watch our music video for Looking Up, we shot with our friend Megan Danielle in Chicago. There's a place called the Rookery, and it was this beautiful, looks like Gatsby, yet somehow is modern at the same time, like 1920s meets the 2020s. And in the middle of it, there's this stairwell that goes on forever. It's just this spiral that goes up and up, marble and, like, ornate. And we thought, man, what a beautiful place. Where I'm sure that people have been at the bottom of that stairwell looking up, and at the top looking down, and kind of the rungs of life, the stairway to heaven, if you will, all these things that you think of. But man, I just thought it was the perfect metaphor for the album, for the song. No matter where you're at on the staircase of life, that there's a reason to keep moving up, keep moving forward, keep looking towards the Lord, and in the midst of it, you might be on the bottommost rung, you might be at the top, and so we thought, man, that's the album cover I thought was really cool. Our buddy Blake shot the video. He's our keyboardist. He's a man of many, many talents. He drives the bus once in a while. He's a CDL. So, like, he's just awesome. But him and my buddy Ben kind of put their brains together, and it's a picture of, like, it looks, it's actually a guitar that's laying down on the stairwell, but they superimposed it so that it looks like it's on the ceiling, and we're looking down from the top of the stairwell down. And the album's called Looking Up. So yeah, there's a lot of cool metaphor. I'm an English major, so I love that kind of stuff. But at the
Uh-huh.
same time, I feel like, when all said and done with this record, we just wanted people wherever they're at to feel like it was a companion piece, because life has fun. There's a song on the album called First Love that makes you dance. It's literally a Motown esque homage. There's a 21 Pilots esque kind of song. There's all these different emotions and sounds, and we just wanted it to kind of reflect life itself, man. The day my son was born, there's a song about that, and then there's songs about being at the lowest of lows, and we've all been in those places, those highs and lows, and all the while keep looking up.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned Looking Up, you have released quite a few others from the project
Sure.
already. Has there been any that the response that you've heard back has been su not surprising, but maybe not what you were expecting to hear?
Yeah, I mean, we've been blessed by just the outpour, like an outpouring of, like, we have a song called "Come to Jesus," and it's a really, it's, I mean, in the title, you know what it's about. It's about just finding a way, no matter where you're at, just to fall into His arms. There's kindness in His eyes is kind of the linchpin lyric to me that I had never heard. Our buddy had written that song with us, Mitch Wong, and Mitch was like, played that line for my buddy Ben and I, and we started tearing up. I was like, man, I never heard somebody say there's kindness in Jesus's eyes, but I know that that's the case. And so, that song in and of itself, man, we had so many people they said, I was just listening to my Spotify or, Apple Music, and boom, it popped up, and I absolutely started crying when I first heard it, and I was like, man, I had that same response when Mitch played me the chorus, and it's just a powerful song of worship. With our song, "Power of a Tender Heart," I'm actually getting ready to go shoot the music video for that right after this interview, and I'm so excited for people to get to hear that one too. But some of our friends that we've given sneak previews to, spoiler alert, that'll be our final release before the album day, which is the first track on the album, and maybe
Uh-huh.
my favorite song. But man, yeah, that song is a journey in and of itself, just to start the record, set the table for the rest of the album. But man, I had a friend of mine say, "Hey, this." This song made me think of when I was a little boy and I would go to the mall and I would go to Orange Julius, and it was like I was transported back somehow into the 80s, but then at the same time I was sitting with my son and I was like, man, I want to buy him an Orange Julius. And I was like, dude, I'm not kidding. When I wrote that song, it took, like, I wrote it from a place of going to our mall in Indiana and like remembering when the mall would close and like life would close, you'd go home and maybe a friend would come over, and like people used to come to your door and knock on it and you didn't hide. Do you remember that time? And you're like, hey, come on in, like company's here. And I felt like that song was just a desperate plea for us to make those connections, to get back to times when we all hung out at the mall together, or just that community, and those good old days. And it was a plea to remember that, man, the good old days were great, but they can happen today. They can happen if we have a heart tender enough, if we have the power of humility like Christ did, man, like it can happen even today.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you had already mentioned that you did one of the tracks with Megan Danielle, but I know Ben
Yeah.
Fuller is also on another one. So do you want to talk
Fuller,
a little bit about how those collabs came out?
dude. Yeah, man. I'll talk about Fuller because Fuller is, man, what you see is what you get with Ben. Like, I had not met the guy. I knew he was a new artist. We're excited to meet him. I walk into the writer's room and I get the biggest hug of all time. And I'm a hugger. And so I'm grateful for it. And I was like, dude, who's this guy, man? We might be best friends already. And he just has this passion, man, like his journey, his testimony. And then he just is so excited to share what Jesus has done for him. And every time I'm with him, I get filled up. And so we write this song together with our good buddy Jonathan, incredible songwriter, and is like, man, this is awesome. Like, we wrote it for the Sidewalk album. Like, would you want to just sing it with me? He's like, yeah, why not, bro? Why not? And so it was just like, it was perfect. Like, we wrote it together. We're gonna sing about the unbelievableness of God, which I feel like is Ben Fuller's heart on full display. And so yeah, that was perfect and easy. And man, yeah, like I said, man, that guy's just amazing. And then with Megan, our song "Looking Up," which is the title track. Uh,
Mhm.
we just were kind of trying to find a female vocalist to collab with, and we met her through her manager Lee, who's an incredible friend of ours. And she's like, I got this, I have this friend that's, she's been on American Idol, and I never listened, I haven't, spoiler, I haven't watched American Idol in a while, since like that Ruben Studdard and Fantasia, Jason Castro, that's my boy. But all that being said, I was like, that's awesome, and I didn't know I expected maybe a pop vocalist, but she walks in the room. She's this tiny little girl, this sweetheart, Southern girl, and she blows my mind with her vocals. And I was like, that's coming out of her. Like, it literally is like Brandy Carlisle, Dolly Parton, Aretha Franklin, somehow, like all the things, man, Whitney, like all mixed together. And Megan just is such a powerhouse of a vocalist, but also her heart is the same. And so we've been so excited to team up with her as well. And yeah, those are always fun, getting to collab and mesh vocals, completely different from my voice, which is awesome. I think it's exactly what the song was calling for.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And now I don't want to ask you your favorite track off the project because I feel
Sure,
like you love them all for different reasons. But
sure.
what's the one that you're most connecting with in your current season?
Man, I do think "Power of a Tender Heart" is the first track on the album we talked about a little bit, but more than that is, I was, a little spoiler too, is I arranged where the songs fall on the record since our very first one. And if you
Uh-huh.
look at the songs, you'll find that song number 7 usually becomes a single at some point in our life, and that's because it's usually one of my favorites. And for the first album, it was "You Love Me Anyway." For "Live Like That," it was "Keep Making Me." And for this album, it's a song called "More Than That." And now it actually is song number 6, because I thought the first song was going to have an intro, track 1, and then the song itself, track 2. So song number 6 is actually 7 in my heart, and it's a song called "More Than That," and it's about the day my son was born. And my son was born, and the nurse and the I sang to my wife, because that's what she wanted. She was in the surgery room. We were having a C-section, and I'm singing, and there's this dancing in the and my son's born. I look over, and there he is. He's so beautiful and handsome, and they weigh and measure him. I sing "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing," my favorite hymn. And then they lay him on his mom. And the nurse that laid him down, she looked at me and she said, "Isn't it awesome? Like, I can tell you guys love this boy so much." But she said, "Isn't it awesome that Jesus loves him even more?" And then she said, "Isn't it amazing that God would give us his only son so that we could know what love like this is?" And so I was not prepared. Like, I just became a dad, and here's this lady like dropping absolute wisdom on me. And I knew that in that moment, even though I just have all these emotions, like, God had given me a gift of that message. Like, no
Mhm.
matter how deep I'm gonna love my son, I love him more so much, but God, somehow Jesus loves us more than that, even deeper. And it's just a great reminder, that we can never go as deep as Jesus, or as wide. I'm grateful for that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, I know we're getting close to time, so I'll just let you close with one final kind of question, and just let you share kind of what's on your heart, what you're praying for as this music comes out fully into
Sure.
the listeners' ears.
And I really do. I think when we release an album, here's all these stories that have been rattling around in your heart for a long time. But we hope that Looking Up is just a companion piece to people, again, on whatever stair of life you're on, whether you're having the best day or the worst. There's a song on there for you to praise to, but also to find some salve and heal. And I think that this song takes you through that roller coaster, and hopefully in a beautiful way. And it can feel like it's a friend, an old friend calling out to you. Finding that humility, admitting we're wrong sometimes, but also finding the humanness. I think that that's what's so beautiful about Jesus is he was fully God and fully human. And sometimes I forget that he had the pains we do. He had the struggles, and yet somehow was perfect in all of them, because he was fully God. And it's just the perfect roadmap to try to get better every day. It's just to spend that time with him. And so hopefully this album can be a companion to that, to spending some time with the Lord. So
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you again, Dave, for taking the time to chat. I really enjoyed getting to hear all about
thanks,
the
Jess.
all the songs you've released, the songs that are coming. It's always great to hear the heart behind them.
Thanks so much. I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful day. And yeah, we can't wait for our record on, yeah, Valentine's Day. That's the perfect day to release
Yes.
it. I mean, you're going out, you're buying chocolates. Forget chocolate hearts, man. Sidewalk Prophets record. Just download it. You're good to go. Romance and love and all the things. So